The LA Kings are in big trouble as they're currently sitting outside of a playoff spot, and they finally moved on from their head coach, Jim Hiller, and DJ Smith is their current interim head coach, perhaps for the rest of the year.
I'm going to give you credit because you were one of the main people between us two saying that if a coach is going to get fired mid-season, it's going to be Jim Hiller.
I mean, he's a second coach, though.
You know, but our coach, I'm saying.
Yeah,
like,
I thought he would have been fired a long time ago, but even before Everson got fired.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it just wasn't working. It's just simple as that. And firing the coach might be one problem, but like I feel like when you're looking at the Kings in general, there's probably like a deeper underlying issue.
Yeah, there's a big picture problem for sure.
There's a big picture problem for sure.
But let's start
overall,
with
when you're looking at, I just want to talk about quickly about this season.
Yeah, we'll start off with that. Yeah,
it's been disappointing at the end of the day.
Yeah,
because of what the type of roster you have, especially when you make a move to go out and get Panarin. I know you didn't have to give up anything to literally get him.
Nothing necessarily like one of their prospects.
Yeah,
who was their first round prospect?
Not even like highly touted as well.
For them, maybe because that was their first round pick. But yeah.
So when you're looking at the thing or the season, you're looking at it as just pure disappointment because one, it's not like you're playing in an Atlantic Division or Central Division. You're playing the Pacific Division.
Worst division in hockey.
Worst division in hockey. And on top of that, you had expectations and you're not living up to it. People get fired when those things happen. And rightfully so, Jim Hiller lost his job. But overall, it just the only way you could classify it this season for the Kings is just disappointing and underperforming.
Jim Hiller, in my opinion, should have lost his job in the summer, in the offseason, because like I don't know how you choke that playoffs against the Oilers. You finally had them beat on the ropes, and you let them pretty much get all the way to the Cup final, essentially, with gaining momentum that way. And the Oilers themselves are making improvements as well, because they made a big trade with Chicago earlier, but that'll be a talk for a trade deadline day. But this Kings team, as of right now, what was their one big struggle in the last couple of years? Scoring goals. That hasn't changed. They're 29th in the NHL right now with 2.53 goals a game. They are currently playing against the Colorado Avalanche, the best team in hockey. They are currently tied 2-2. Part of that could be a coach bump. We'll see. But we are recording mid-game of that as well, so we don't know what's going to be that result. But going back to it, offensively, 29th in goals per game. They are 27th in the power play, so that's not even great. Their home record wasn't even the greatest to, I think, start the year in general. I don't know how it is currently. Shooting percentage, 30th in the NHL. Defensively, you expect it to be that somewhat their bread and butter. They're top 10 in goals allowed, 8th to be exact at 2.86, 12th in shots on goal allowed, penalty kill not good, they're 28th. So the special teams in general has not been great overall, but the big concern what ended up happening was that once you get out of the All-Star or the Olympic break, they go ahead and lose. They were already in a 5-game losing streak, but then the last 2 games, well, they beat the Flames. Before they beat the Flames 2-0, they lost to the Oilers 8-1. They lost to the Golden Knights 6-4. The fact that they scored 4 goals is crazy. I'll say that much, but then you allowing 6 is not on top of that. I think the last game, Darcy Kemper was not great when he played against. I believe he was the goalie for the Oilers game, if I'm not mistaken. Regardless, whoever it wasn't great overall. This team, like I said, we're gonna talk about the bigger root of the problem in a second here. DJ Smith being the guy, it's a coach, it's an interim coach. Obviously, I don't blame Pete DeBoer if they did contact him and try to get him in. Jay Woodcroft is someone I linked to them because Ken Holland is their GM at the moment, who was his head coach in Edmonton before Knoblauch. It was Jay Woodcroft. I believe he's on the assistant coaching staff of the Ducks, so maybe that will be the offseason hire. I don't know. As of right now with the Kings, listen, they're in the shitty Pacific Division. So are their playoff hopes done? No. But are they contenders or anywhere near that? Hell no. So the overall team with this stuff with this team is, I wonder how much DJ Smith is going to get them rolling, because I wasn't the biggest fan of him in the Senators. I believe he didn't even make a single playoffs with the Ottawa Senators before they moved off of him over there. So again, I think they might have a first couple of games decent, sure. Like right now, like I said, they're live recording this. They're 2-2 in the second intermission against the Colorado Avalanche, sure. But overall, when it comes to this team, I understand Kevin Fiala's out. You do go get out entertainment parents, so it sucks you can't see them play together. But overall, Seattle's been really good this year. Yes, they're a mid-team in general, but this season itself, they've been really good. We have two up-and-coming teams in the Sharks and Ducks who could potentially make the playoffs as well. The Oilers have been shit the last couple of games as well. Obviously, outside of the Kings game, they have their own issues. Like I said, they made a trade to address their defense and Connor Murphy. So overall, like we'll see what happens with them in the playoffs. And Vegas, even though I still believe they're the best team in the Pacific Division. I don't think you disagree with that. But they even have somewhat they're concerned because they don't seem the same Vegas Golden Knights. So is this season wrapped up for them? No, in terms of regular season, but it's going to be still tough to get into the playoffs, in my opinion, because there are still teams in the same type of tier. And if this team doesn't get going, they're not going to get it overall. And they're at least with the Sharks and Ducks, they're fun to watch. These guys aren't even fun to watch.
The big issue with the LA Kings, or personal issue I have about the LA Kings, is obviously one of the main root causes is that their young talent hasn't developed enough to come in and replace the vets like Kopitar and Doughty, which is obviously their two Hall of Fame legend franchise players that they have had over the last decade plus. That's the big issue here, because when you saw the LA Kings start making the playoffs a few years ago, and they kind of got out of that run of missing playoffs, obviously having top picks, it wasn't because their young talent was emerging. It was just because they made moves. It was obviously because of Kopitar and Doughty. Jonathan Quick had that one resurgence year as well a few years back, I think 3-4 years back.
Before he got traded to Vegas. Before he went to Vegas. I think he went to Columbus. Columbus, he didn't play with Columbus, and it was Vegas, yeah.
Yeah. And on top of that, they went out and made moves. They got Vladislav Gavrikov. They got Kevin Fiala, right? So, in my opinion, I feel like the biggest issue the LA Kings, or biggest mistake the LA Kings made, was rush the process a little bit too quickly. And it might just been timing. Like, at the end of the day, maybe they were an unexpected playoff team then, and it could have been timing where, the same thing you could potentially say about the Islanders, right? Because you could say that they're kind of arriving ahead of time, which is sometimes good, but sometimes not good.
Rangers to a certain extent.
Canucks as well. So I felt like the same thing kind of happened to the Kings. And I felt like because of one, they got good, they didn't really rely on the young guys, right? So they didn't get valuable minutes in big time. They were going to get valuable minutes in big time games, right? Because obviously they're young and they're still learning. So their NHL time on ice wasn't going to be great compared to obviously in the lower levels in the AHL. And then the other point is, because of that, now when the older guys and the vets are, getting up there in age, are about to leave, right? The young guys are unprepared to fulfill and take over that step. I feel like that's kind of the run of the Kings that had the last 4 to 5 years, is where I felt like they peaked too early, and it's kind of causing them issues. And especially when you haven't won a playoff series as well, it's getting looked at you're looking at it even more of an issue, just because now you feel like you're just stuck. You're in the middle of the pack. You're in a shit division and you can't even do anything in the division. Just shows you that how it kind of backfired on them. So it kind of backfired on them, quite well. Like how it backfired on the Canucks. Depending on what the Islanders do, could potentially backfire on the Islanders.
That's more
of
a future thing, but the Rangers obviously being the bigger.
And Rangers as well.
Here's the thing, right? Why did not get Pete DeBoer? I don't blame Pete DeBoer, because there's a lot of uncertainty in the future, right? So why would he take this job right now? Why would he not just wait for a potential Oiler job might be available in the offseason? Potential, I don't know, any other jobs will open up, right? Like the Devils might open up if they continue to struggle as they did in the drama they had during midseason, during the Quinn Hughes trade timeline when they did not get him, and so on and so forth. So in Pete DeBoer's case, if they did ask him, why would you go get him, right? Obviously, we know I said Jacob Woodcroft, he's not available at the moment. I don't know what the process is of moving assistant coaches during the year, or whatever the case situation would that be. The other problem with this team is, like you said it, Anze Kopitar is flowing at a decent level, right? Like Drew Doughty has taken a step back this year. Brant Clark, at least for the most part, has taken a step forward this year. Hopefully he gets going a little bit more and gets more proper opportunities now to go out, like how the Islanders gave Schaefer full freedom, and look how he's performed. 20 goals in his rookie season is nuts.
They're in a rookie defenseman.
For
18-year-old rookie defenseman.
Firm playoff spot, everything, right? Like to the point where we argued that this guy should be in Team Canada, a main Olympic roster, right? Brant Clark, obviously, I know they're taking a slow process. I don't hate that for some prospects, and I get that. But now it's the time to take the training wheels off and get him going. Because this year they had a first-round pick. It was 31st overall. Last year they had the first-round pick, 26. They traded him for Artemi Panarin. That's the one thing I do want to say. I don't mind trading for Artemi Panarin because he's still Artemi Panarin. He's really good. One thing I do hate is when teams do not pick a direction. Either pick the Vegas direction and go all out. Yes, you want to have still somewhat of a prospect pool to help you in terms of not just because of your future, but like it helps you save money on the cap side of things.
But that was the issue. Islanders were in a position where they just won the lottery. They traded away Noah Dobson.
Yeah.
Right. And they were able to give Matthew Schaefer the full freedom.
Yeah.
Roll out the young guys, see what happens. Right. The Kings couldn't. The Kings, because the Pacific Division was so bad, the Kings kept on making the playoffs. You're not going to roll out Brant Clark and give him freedom. Like, why would they care about developing young talent when they're making the playoffs consistently?
Yeah.
And are obviously trying to go for the cup. That's where the development of this young talent, I felt like, just fell through the window just because of those situations there. Because they were stuck in the AHL for a while, slow process, and when you call them up, your job is to replace Drew Doughty, or
Who's a Hall of Famer.
become the Drew Doughty replacement, just like that.
Yeah.
Like, it's gonna take time.
So
that's one. And another one I want to quickly bring up here is when I'm looking at the forwards, like you're looking at Quinton Byfield, who obviously has been okay, but not as what they expected as a second overall pick. And then Alex Turka, who was another guy that they were really...
Dropped to top 5. I have the draft up here. I'm going to go through it in a sec.
I just feel like even like Jim Hiller, a little bit even before, this super conservative defensive system that they had is not going to help developing offensive players. So the Byfield and Turcotte
to be fair, it was also before him was also Todd McClellan. He was way bigger conservative. In that sense.
But
well.
I'd said Jim Hiller and before. So and that's not going to just help the offensive players talented, right? Like at the end of you're expecting a young guy to come in, play this conservative style of hockey, and expect him to score and put points. Like it's unfair for, obviously, like it's fair for the fans to criticize that and the media to criticize that, but it's unfair for the LA Kings organization to expect that for them because of the type of brand and system you were playing.
So the question obviously ultimately comes down to it, like how much is it on the players not being developed properly? How much is it on the coaching staff? How much of it is on the organization? Because 2023, you didn't have a first round pick. 2022, your first pick, you didn't have a first round pick. Funny enough, their first pick in the draft, which was second round, 51st, was a guy named Jack Hughes. Obviously, not the New Jersey Devils, Jack Hughes. And then that's when you get Brant Clark in 2021, 8th overall. In the 2021 class, at the moment, I'm not saying it's a bad pick or anything. Like I said, Brant Clark at least has shown promise. It was, if you go by order of pick, number 8 was Brant Clark. The next pick was Dylan Guenther. And now that obviously also PTSD for Canucks fans because it was as part of the OEL trade. But that aside, Dylan Guenther has probably talked his way into Team Canada in 2030 roster for sure, for the Olympics and maybe the World Cup even, for all we know. That's how good he has been. I understand different position, but at that point you just draft what's best fit. After that, nothing crazy. I'm not going to go too much into that draft class. And then before that, 2020, like you said, it was Quinton Byfield. He was the quote unquote the next guy to take the mantle from Anze Kopitar, who's retiring this year, and he hasn't shown that he's ready. There's a reason why they're linked to guys like Elias Pettersson, or a guy like even Vincent Trocheck might be on the move, or whatever the case might be. Because again, your team is mid enough that like you're not gonna be that bad. You have a couple of young guys, like you were lucky enough to get top 2 picks, top 10 picks in general. The Quinton Byfield draft, the next pick was Tim Stützle. I don't know if you know, Tim Stützle is a damn good hockey player.
Oh, I know.
He's one of the probably you could say that he's probably arguably their best player. Maybe outside of maybe Jake Sanderson, and even ahead of Brady Chuck to a certain degree for Ottawa, the Ottawa Senators. After that, Jake Sanderson was the 5th pick. Lucas Raymond has a really good year, so that's 2 guys right there. Overall, Seth Jarvis went 13, right?
I won't look. I'm not gonna be that guy.
Yeah.
To like trash on
young 2020 as well.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say
obviously.
that.
But I'm not gonna be like, at the end of the day, I'm not gonna come on here and say, oh, they effed it with the Byfield pick. They effed it with because they're still young.
Yeah,
it's different if they're like 26 to 28 years old. But then yeah, you could say it. But let's be honest here. Like, in this moment, the issue isn't drafting. Well, the issue is development, and
from both players and staff side.
And when I'm looking at it, I feel like the timing and the situation kind of messed it up a little bit because them making the playoffs, them being in a bad division, kind of made them, I feel like, outperform what they're actually going to be. Because of that, they made the playoffs. When you're in the playoffs, you're going to go for it. Who gives a shit about when you're in the playoff? You're not going to be out here playing young guys, right?
Unless they're like Quinn Hughes coming into the league,
exactly.
Cale McCarr coming into the league.
Like how Colorado called up Cale McCarr
Cole
during
Caulfield
the playoffs.
for the Montreal Canadiens.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's just not going to happen.
Yeah, but
right?
Can I say one thing though? I'm not saying that like these guys are not, they're not gonna be.
Yeah,
better
I know you're
or
not
whatever,
saying that.
But I'm saying like if you're comparing it to the guys that went behind them and how they panned out.
Yeah, but
clearly something's wrong in some sense.
Do you think Dylan Guenther will be as good if he plays in this defensive ass system?
Maybe not. Like
Exactly.
I said, yeah.
Right? Look, it's development, man. I don't think Dylan Guenther will be as good if he was drafted by the LA Kings. I don't think Tim Stützle would have been as good if he was drafted by the LA Kings.
Tim Stützle also is a kind of a good two-way center, to be fair. But yeah.
That's fair, but it's going to be hard to be a two-way center when you're in the LA Kings and you're not scoring.
Okay, so
the issue for me is like not who they picked, is how are they preparing them for the NHL?
So here's the thing.
And I don't think they've done a very good job of that, but also I'm still going to blame them, but like if I'm looking at it in hindsight, like you could see where they have a little bit of caveat because they were a competitive team and they were going to go for it.
But the decision making also as well. You move off a guy from Brock Faber. Again, opportunity Minnesota rose for him. But you trade him for Kevin Fiala. Kevin Fiala has been good for them. Don't get me wrong. And again, get well soon because that injury was nasty in the Olympics. So again, it sucks that we can't see what they did because there's a reason why. I know obviously LA might have been a factor of it, but why Timmy Panarin wanted to go to LA that bad because they still have a decent enough team to probably get into the playoffs. He could make some noise because I still think our Timmy Panarin's a good player. There's a reason why he was keeping the Rangers afloat to a certain extent. But yeah, moving off of Brock Faber, who turned out to be so far as of right now the better defenseman between him and Brandt Clark. Quentin Byfield, like I said, I mentioned those. The big one, again, like the decision not drafting properly, I'm picking up Alex Turcotte. Top 5 pick, 2019 draft. Guys he passed up on. Mo Seider immediately right after. Dylan Cousins, obviously a way better center than Alex Turcotte is. Philip Broberg on the defensive side. Zegras, I know Anaheim did pan out properly. Matt Boldy.
Yeah. So
Spencer Knight. Whatever, like whoever.
Turcotte you could criticize because now it's been what?
2019
7
draft?
years.
Yeah, so it's like a Put Colson situation with him too.
Exactly. So in that situation, you could be like, okay, yeah, that's like one draft. But I'm just looking at it from a pure development standpoint and not drafting the right guy or wrong guy. Because I genuinely don't believe Dylan Guenther will be this good if he was in this system and the type of player they were in or the type of situation they were in. The reason why they traded for Kevin Fiala, because they thought they were good.
Yeah.
Right?
That's why they moved on from Brock Faber. I get that.
Yeah. So you could like look at it, okay, you could make that justified. And it's, no knock on Kevin Fiala. He has been a really good LA Kings player. Like, he has been exceptional for them. But at the same time, I don't think they assessed the roster well enough to kind of go all in because it just doesn't make sense to me how, when you look back at it, it doesn't make sense to me that the young guys didn't bring you there.
Yeah.
It was like the more veteran, the more guys that kind of refound their game type of thing as well, they brought you there. When you're looking at the Sharks, they're there because of their young guys. Same with the Islanders. They're there because of Schaefer.
Schaefer mainly. Islanders is a weird situation.
Yeah, but mainly Schaefer. But Anaheim, I feel like, is the best example because they are there because of McTavish, Leo Carlson, Seneca, Lacombe, Dostal. Their core.
Yeah.
Not some old guys,
and
not some
right
trading for vets, not like Kevin Fiala. And obviously good coaching is always going to be a big factor of it. Same with Utah. Keller.
Utah, they got out of Anaheim. Or not Anaheim, Arizona.
That's also a big factor. But Guenther, Cooley, Keller, all these guys, right? They're there because of the young core. The LA Kings, I felt like pushed the button way too soon of going all in and getting, trading away young prospects.
So guys like Gabe Vlardy, guess what? Who he traded for? Who traded? He's part of.
Pierre-Luc Dubois.
And what happened to Pierre-Luc Dubois?
Exactly.
Well, he got rid of him literally the next year.
He got Darcy
Kemper, who's been fine for you guys. Kevin Fiala, the other thing, I'm not gonna again, solid with the Kings, but he hasn't been as good as he was with his last year with the Wild and his first year with the Kings overall, because he wasn't more than a point a game player then. Ever since then, 73 and 82, 60 and 81. This year, 40 and 56. So as year by year goes, yes, that trade looks brutal because it seems like a heavy overpay now, especially with Brock Faber playing with Quinn Hughes, making Team USA's roster overall.
It's just simple as this. It's like if nothing's gonna compare in sports trades to the Luka Doncic getting traded away from the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah.
But you know how when the first takeaway you had of that trade is one, Dallas is dumb. The second biggest takeaway I had was Dallas just cut their championship window by 10 years, basically.
And even then,
that's kind of what the LA Kings did. They made the playoffs once, and it just felt like they cut their championship window because the reason why they made the playoffs that first year was literally Jonathan Quick refound his game. Anze Kopitar still Anze Kopitar. Drew Doughty was still Drew Doughty, and Adrian Kempe, the younger guy, then was developing pretty well, right? So in that case, yeah, they made the playoffs, but it wasn't because of a core. Now you're looking at Anaheim. They're gonna, as the years go on, they're gonna be a team to look out for and team to be in the Pacific Division because their core is a reason why they're there. Same with the Sharks. It's because of Macklin Celebrini. It's because of Askarov. They're getting there, and they have some other younger talent that could be developed adding.
Us included, thank God the Sharks did not get Matthew Schaefer.
Exactly.
Because obviously we've been Canucks in the division, but these guys,
they could have the Sharks were the closest to have the 3 first-round picks in a row.
Yeah.
Of Bedard, Celebrini, and Schaefer, which obviously would have been
But
nuts.
even then, Will Smith, Celebrini, and even if Misa's going to be fine, but if they had gotten Schaefer as a franchise defenseman, obviously right now it's Dickinson. We'll see what ends up happening to them. But holy shit, thank God they didn't win that lottery.
And then you could kind of say the same thing about Chicago, who were not having a bad year. Unfortunately, obviously, Bedard got hurt. That's where things fell apart. But if you don't be surprised if Chicago is going to be the next young star team. You can't. Those are the teams that are going to go make the playoffs and stay there.
Okay.
When you look at LA Kings, when they made the playoffs that year, I generally wasn't confident.
The window was last year.
Yeah. I generally wasn't confident that they were going to stay there.
Yeah. So here's my question to you to close it out. What's next for this team? Anze Kopitar is retiring. As of right now, according to Daily Faceoff, Alex Turcotte's your number 1 center once Kopitar retires. Then it's Gannon, Kenny Connors, Hellenius.
Not be Byfield.
Oh, well, sorry, it would be Byfield. I didn't realize Byfield is injured day to day. But it would be Byfield number 1, Turcotte number 2. I'm not gonna say as bad as the Canucks, but it's pretty down at the bottom when you can't do that, right? So what I think, again, I don't think they should go risky for this trade deadline. What's the plan for the future though, right? Because again, Drew Doughty isn't the same Drew Doughty, so you're gonna expect Brandt Clark hopefully to take that number 1 obviously not to the upper superstar level step, but the number 1 top pairing guy for this team. Can he be that guy overall?
It's literally there's only the best case scenario for the LA Kings is
trade for Elias Pettersson.
No.
I'm kidding. No, I'm as a joke. Yeah.
But that'll be for the Canucks if you could get good guys in return. The best case scenario for the LA Kings is that if they stay put in the similar roster and they lose Kopitar.
You're talking about trade deadline right now, right?
Yeah, if they just keep this, if they come into the net, I'm not sure what they're going to do. I'll be honest with you.
It's an off-season project.
Yeah. But if they come into this season, next season with a similar-ish roster, and you're hoping, okay, now Byfield's getting those minutes, Turcotte's getting those minutes, Brandt Clark's getting those minutes, right?
Maybe
the minutes that will help you develop in the NHL. Maybe that will help them in a year or two. They could be back because those 3 are much better players than they were, right? But that right now is a big, massive if. Another thing is, that's their only young talent. That's 3 players. Who's their goalie of the future? I don't know yet. I'll be honest with you. I don't know if there's anyone in the pipeline. I didn't look into that. But right now, it ain't going to be Kemper. Yeah. It's just not. Defensively, other than Brandt Clark, are you going to be confident that's going to be that guy? Right? For the future. Not obviously.
Yeah, they spend money on Cody Ceci and Dumoulin. And
then, again, right now, you have Kempe, fair. But after really solid player. After that, who is it?
Yeah, so that's the point.
It could be Byfield, it could be Turcotte, but
Turcotte's a lost cause. I'm not going to put Turcotte in this. I think, and if they're going to make a trade. Let's be real. Whether that be Elias
have to.
Pettersson
Yeah.
or whether that be a guy like Vincent Trocheck, whoever's going to be available for their center spot, they're going to make a trade for them. Turcotte's going to be part of it. Turcotte's a lost cause. He's like, whatever the case might be.
But that was the best case scenario.
Maybe he's a late bloomer and he'll go somewhere else or whatever the case might be. Your best bet is can Byfield take that step that you expected him to be.
The best bet is the young guys develop.
Yeah.
But realistically, that's just a matter of
So-
like if. But the situation they're in, you just have to make a move.
So to end this, how screwed are they for the future? How screwed are they for their future playoff chances? Do you think this can be reparable during the offseason, especially?
It's just, for this situation, this is not a one off-season thing.
Because you have the Sharks coming up, you have the Kings coming up, the Ducks coming up, Vegas should be fine, McDavid is still existing. So that's 4 teams you named right off the bat.
It feels like the direction they have to go is reset. Unless you can make a move where like you finesse something heavily, but at this rate,
if they miss the
if they keep just adding veteran type guys, it's not going to be good for their future at all. It just
depends on
simply that.
what type they add, but like yeah, you're right.
Honestly, like if they could,
Like, as Vegas Vegas gets guys in the
if you get deals like Panarin for getting rid of nothing and getting guys like Panarin, yeah, you're in a good situation. But that's not going to happen.
But here's the thing. You have to figure out your head coach situation. I'm predicting Jay Woodcroft in the offseason right now. I don't know if you're going to agree or disagree with that. I mean,
you
it's
see the
open-ended,
connection.
like,
Yeah.
obviously.
You see the connection.
It's just the connection there. Who knows what's ultimately going to end up happening. But that pretty much wraps it up for us this episode. The LA Kings moved off of Jim Hiller. So we want to hear your reaction in the comments below of what is next for this team, because they're in the middle of nowhere. They're that mushy middle Islanders, Canucks-esque team Islanders in the past before Schaefer-esque team that we don't know what's going to happen. No replacement for Kopitar. There's a lot of question marks, so we want to hear your comments down below. Hit the subscribe button. Follow our TikTok. We've seen a lot of support there recently. We're going to be consistently on TikTok and Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts as well. So you guys want to like, comment, follow, and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.
Peace.